The Nintendo e-reader, released in North America in late 2002, is an accessory for the Game Boy Advance that has a barcode reader allowing you to import data from trading cards rather than just playing, a standard cartridge on the Game Boy Advance. Now, this didn't last very long. It was discontinued in early 2004, so it was only on shelves about a year. Now, you might be wondering, how is it possible to get a game crammed on a tiny little trading card? Well, luckily Nintendo has an answer.
The game is inside the cards. New e-reader for Game Boy Advance. Slide the cards to play some of your favorite games. E-reader comes with a classic game and a sample pack. More games sold separately. Reading key for everyone.
Well, there you go, and now we know why Donkey Kong Jr. hasn't appeared in a game since the original Super Mario Kart on the Super NES. Now, the e-reader is not small. As you can see, it's roughly the size of the original Game Boy Advance system itself and plugs into the cartridge slot like so. It is lightweight, but the design is a little strange considering, you're going to be using this for a handheld portable system, not too portable. So with the e-reader inside the Game Boy Advance, you can turn it on and fire up the game. And it loads just like a standard cartridge would for the system. One thing you'll notice immediately is the amazing intro music. It's so good you almost forget about the games that you can play with the system. Let's take a minute and enjoy. Alright, enough of that. And games. Yes, there are games. The most notable ones are the NES ports of the what's now considered black box era. So these games are printed onto 5 cards each, meaning you have to scan them 10 times, one for each side. And on the back, you do get some instructions about the games. Here's a Game & Watch that came with the system, the only one released. An air hockey card. This is a promo I picked up from a GameStop, I believe. It was free when I purchased the e-reader. Now, they also made a series for Animal Crossing, as well as some Pokemon cards that would let you pull up various stats and display it on your Game Boy Advance screen. There are also a set of Super Mario 3 cards that tied into the cartridge, allowing you to import data and new levels, and also a Mario Party game, which doesn't work all that well considering it takes time to scan the cards. And as far as scanning the cards, it is not a simple process. Let's take a look at getting a copy of Excitebike onto this e-reader. So as you can see, the e-reader is a bit finicky. You have to slide it through at just the right speed for it to be able to pick up the data. And then another drawback that sort of slows down this process is you have to press the A button after each side is scanned successfully or unsuccessfully. If you need to re-swipe, you also have to hit the A button to get that to go through. I've sped up the process here, but it does take a considerable amount of time. Roughly, I would say a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get a single game loaded into the e-reader and ready to go. Now, once it's on there, the e-reader does have internal memory, so it will store this game as long as I would like to keep it on there. So basically, this is indefinitely a copy of Excitebike that I can play on my e-reader anytime I would like until I want to overwrite it with new data. Now that it's complete, we can fire up the game here. And as you will see, Excitebike loads just as it would back on the NES with the familiar music that we all know and love. Gameplay, as you can see here, it looks and plays just like the original on the NES. Here I'm displaying it on my Game Boy Advance player for my GameCube, and it looks just as ridiculous sticking out of the bottom of this thing as it does sticking out of the top of my Game Boy Advance. So yeah, that's the Nintendo e-reader. A strange little piece of oddware, receiving just around a dozen NES ports in its short lifespan. It's an interesting piece of history, though, and might be worth adding to your video game collection. Thanks for watching.